My boyfriend walked in on me with 3 guys in our bed. Suddenly, I'm the villain for asking for a weekend break. But what my boyfriend did next will shock you. He changed all the locks that same day. So there I am, standing in our bedroom with Jake, Marcus, and Tom, and my boyfriend David just freezes in the doorway. I try to explain that this is exactly what a break means, exploring your options, but he's not hearing it. He tells all 3 guys to leave right now, and they just grab their clothes and run like cowards. "What is this, Ashley?" he says, and I'm like, "You said we could take a break to think about things. Well, this is me thinking." But apparently, that was the wrong answer, because his face goes completely white. I'm trying to be reasonable here. "David, you agreed to give me space this weekend to figure out what I want. That's what a break means in modern relationships. We get to explore our options without judgment." But he's not listening. He's just staring at the unmade bed and shaking his head. "Are you seriously telling me you think this is okay?" "It's called being honest about my needs," I tell him. "At least I'm not sneaking around behind your back like most people do." That's when he starts laughing, but not in a good way. It's this cold, bitter laugh that makes me uncomfortable. "You brought 3 men into our bed and you think you're being honest? Our bed? We're on a break, David. That makes this my space for the weekend." He pulls out his phone and starts making a call. I hear him talking to someone about changing locks immediately, like today, and I'm thinking he's being totally dramatic about this whole thing. "You can't just change the locks," I tell him. "This is my apartment too." "Watch me," he says, and walks out of the bedroom. I follow him to the living room, where he's already pulling my clothes out of the closet and throwing them into garbage bags. This is so typical of him, always overreacting when things don't go exactly his way. "David, stop being ridiculous. We can talk about this like adults." "Talk? You want to talk now, after I just found 3 strangers in our bed?" "They're not strangers. Jake is from my gym, Marcus works in accounting at my office, and Tom is someone I met on Bumble. I vetted all of them properly." He stops packing my stuff and just stares at me. "You vetted them? Ashley, do you hear yourself right now?" "Yes, I hear myself being responsible about casual dating during our agreed-upon break, which is more than I can say for you barging in here without warning. This is my apartment too. I live here. But you said you'd give me space this weekend. Space means I get to use the apartment how I want." The locksmith shows up an hour later, which honestly seems really fast, but whatever. David hands him some cash and tells him to change every lock in the place. I'm sitting on the couch watching this happen and thinking about how he's going to feel so stupid when he realizes he's overreacting. "I can't believe you're doing this over one little misunderstanding," I tell him. "Misunderstanding?" He turns to look at me. "Ashley, I came home to find you having sex with 3 men, in our bed. How is that a misunderstanding? We weren't intimate yet. We were just getting to know each other better. You were all undressed. That's how adults get to know each other when they're exploring connections. God, David, sometimes I think you're still stuck in high school." He finishes packing my clothes and sets the bags by the door. "I want you out of here in the next 10 minutes. You can't kick me out. I pay half the rent. Actually, you pay about 20% of the rent, and your name's not on the lease, so yes, I can absolutely kick you out. This is news to me. I thought we were equal partners in this relationship, but apparently, he's been keeping financial secrets. That's not fair, and you know it. What's not fair is coming home to find my girlfriend cheating on me with multiple people and then trying to gaslight me into thinking it's normal. I'm not gaslighting you. I'm trying to educate you about how modern relationships work." My phone starts buzzing with texts from my friends. Apparently, Jake posted something on his Instagram story about the crazy situation he just left. I'm going to have to do damage control on this whole thing. "Look, David, I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just forget this happened and go back to normal?" "Normal? Ashley, there is no normal anymore. There's no us anymore. Don't be so dramatic. Every couple goes through rough patches." But he's already walking me to the door with my bags. "Your rough patch involved 3 other people in our bed. That's not something couples work through. If you really loved me, you'd be willing to forgive one mistake. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. You chose to disrespect our relationship, our home, and me. I chose to be honest about exploring my options during our break. That's what healthy people do." He opens the door and sets my bags in the hallway. Goodbye, Ashley. David, wait. You're not thinking clearly right now. Let's talk about this tomorrow when you've calmed down. But he's already closing the door in my face. I hear the new deadbolt click into place from the inside. Now let me back up and tell you how this whole mess started, because you need to understand that I was being completely reasonable. David and I had been together for 2 years. We met at a coffee shop near my work. I'm a social media coordinator for a marketing firm downtown, and he's a software engineer for some tech company. Everything was great at first. He was attentive, thoughtful, always texting me good morning and good night. But lately, things had been feeling stale, like we were just going through the motions of being in a relationship without any real passion or excitement. I started thinking about whether David was really the right person for me long term. Don't get me wrong, he's a good guy. Stable job, nice apartment, treats me well. But sometimes, I felt like I was settling for safe instead of going after what I really wanted. That's when I decided to suggest taking a break. Not a breakup, just a pause to evaluate our relationship and figure out if we were both truly happy. I think we should take a weekend break, I told him last Thursday over dinner. Just to think about where we're going with this. He looked confused. What do you mean by a break? I mean, we spend this weekend apart, no contact, and we both think about whether this relationship is making us happy. And what exactly would we be doing during this break? Just soul-searching. Maybe spending time with other people to get some perspective on what we have together. Other people like who? I don't know, David. Friends, family, whoever. The point is to get some space so we can come back together with a fresh perspective. He didn't seem thrilled about the idea, but he agreed. If that's what you need to be happy, then okay. We'll take a break this weekend. See? He agreed to it. Everything that happened after that was totally within the boundaries we established. Friday night, I went to happy hour with my coworkers and ran into Jake from my gym. We'd been flirting for months, and with David and me on a break, I finally felt free to see where things could go. Hey, stranger, Jake said when he saw me at the bar. Where's your boyfriend tonight? We're taking a little break, I told him. Just trying to figure some things out. That's interesting. Want to talk about it over another drink? We ended up talking until closing time. Jake is everything David isn't. Spontaneous, adventurous, physically fit. When he suggested coming back to my place, I said yes. Why wouldn't I? David and I were on a break. Saturday morning, Jake left early for work and I spent the day getting ready for my date with Marcus. We'd been texting for weeks, but David's always been super jealous about me having male friends at work, so I never got to explore that connection properly. Marcus took me to this amazing new restaurant downtown that David would never try because he's so picky about food. We talked about everything: art, travel, our dreams for the future. Marcus is cultured and sophisticated in ways that David just isn't. I have to ask, Marcus said over dessert, what's the deal with your relationship status? I've seen you with that guy at company events. We're taking a break to evaluate things, I explained. I realized I need to explore my options before making any long-term commitments. That's very mature of you. Most people just stay in okay relationships instead of going after what they really want. When Marcus suggested extending our date back at my place, it felt like the natural next step. This break was giving me the chance to experience real chemistry and passion for the first time in months. Sunday morning, I was feeling so empowered and confident about exploring my options that I decided to meet up with Tom from Bumble. We'd been chatting for weeks, but I'd never met him in person because of the whole David situation. Tom turned out to be even better looking than his photos, and he had this easy confidence that just drew me in. We grabbed coffee and walked around the park, talking about life and relationships and what we both wanted. So you're single? He asked when I mentioned living alone this weekend. It's complicated, but yeah, basically single for now. Good to know, he said with this smile that made my stomach flutter. When I invited him back to my place, I was thinking this break was the best decision I'd ever made. For the first time in months, I felt alive and excited about my romantic life. The plan was for Tom to leave before David got back Sunday evening. But then Jake texted asking if he could stop by to grab his phone charger that he'd left Friday night, and Marcus messaged saying he had my earring that fell off in his car and wanted to return it. I thought it would be fine to have them all over at the same time for just a few minutes. We were all adults, and it wasn't like we were doing anything inappropriate. Just 3 interesting men in my life who I was getting to know better during my relationship break. Except then, Jake started flirting with me in front of the other guys, and Marcus got a little jealous and started being extra touchy. Tom thought it was all some kind of game and started getting more aggressive about claiming my attention. Before I knew it, we were all in the bedroom, and things were getting pretty intense. I figured David wouldn't be back for hours, so why not enjoy myself? This was my break weekend, and I was finally living authentically instead of just settling for boring stability. That's when David walked in. Now I'm standing outside my own apartment building with 3 garbage bags full of clothes, and my phone is blowing up with messages from people who heard about what happened. My best friend Jessica texted, "Girl, what is going on?" Jake posted some cryptic story about drama and your name came up. I called her immediately. David completely overreacted to me exploring my options during our break. What kind of options? I was just getting to know some other people while we were taking space. He said I could spend the weekend thinking about our relationship. Ashley, please tell me you didn't hook up with other guys while you were on a break. It wasn't hooking up. It was exploring connections to get perspective on my relationship with David. How many guys? That's not the point, Jess. The point is that David agreed to give me space and then punished me for using it. Oh, honey, you can't be serious right now. Why is everyone acting like I did something wrong? We were on a break. Jessica went quiet for a long time. Ashley, I love you, but a break doesn't mean you get to sleep with other people. A break means you take time apart to think. Says who? Different people have different definitions of what a break means. Says everyone, Ashley. Says common sense. Well, David should have been clearer about the rules if he had specific expectations. The rule is don't cheat on your boyfriend. It's not cheating if we're on a break. But Jessica had already hung up on me. I tried calling my sister next, but she didn't answer. Then I tried my mom, who also didn't pick up. Finally, I called my coworker, Sarah. I heard there was some drama with you and David, Sarah said when she answered. He's being completely unreasonable about me dating during our break. You were dating other people? I was exploring my options. That's what breaks are for. Ashley, Marcus told everyone at work that you guys hooked up this weekend. He was bragging about it. My stomach dropped. He was bragging. He said you told him you were basically single and looking to meet someone new. That's not what I said. He also said David walked in on you with multiple guys. Is that true? It's not how it sounds. How does it sound, Ashley? Because it sounds like you cheated on your boyfriend with 3 different men. We were on a break for one weekend, and you immediately started sleeping around. I was being honest about my needs instead of suppressing them like most people do. Sarah sighed. I think you should probably look for a new job. This is going to be all over the office by tomorrow. She hung up too. I'm sitting on a bench outside my apartment building, going through my contacts, trying to find someone who will understand my side of this story. But everyone I call either doesn't answer or acts like I'm some kind of monster. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, walks by and gives me this look of complete disgust. Shameful, she says under her breath. Excuse me? All those men coming and going. Some of us are trying to raise families here. It's a free country. I can have friends over. Friends? She laughs. Is that what you call them? Even the elderly Korean lady who barely speaks English thinks I'm in the wrong here. This is insane. I try texting David. Can we please talk about this like adults? I think there's been a misunderstanding. He texts back immediately. There's no misunderstanding. You cheated on me with 3 men in our bed. We're done. I didn't cheat. We were on a break. A break doesn't mean you get to have sex with other people. You never specified the rules. I shouldn't have to specify that cheating is wrong. This is exactly why I needed space. You're so controlling and judgmental. He doesn't respond after that. I book a room at the Holiday Inn Express downtown and spend the night going over everything in my head. The more I think about it, the more convinced I become that David is being totally unreasonable. Thursday night, I run into Jake at the gym. I figure he'll be more understanding since he was actually there and knows what really happened. Hey, stranger, I say when I see him at the water fountain. He looks uncomfortable. Hey, Ashley. Things have been pretty crazy since Sunday, huh? Yeah, about that. I think we should probably keep our distance for a while. Why? We didn't do anything wrong. Your boyfriend seemed pretty upset. Ex-boyfriend. And he's upset because he doesn't understand modern relationships. I don't know, Ashley. Walking in on your girlfriend with 3 guys would upset most people. We were on a break for like 2 days, and you immediately started hooking up with other people. I started exploring connections that I'd been suppressing because of David's jealousy issues. Jake finishes filling his water bottle and starts to walk away. I think you should talk to someone about this, like a therapist or something. I don't need therapy. I need people to stop judging me for being honest about my needs. Okay, well, good luck with that. He leaves me standing there alone, and I realize that somehow everyone has turned against me when I was just trying to figure out what I wanted. Friday afternoon, my landlord calls. Apparently, David gave him notice that I wouldn't be living in the apartment anymore, and my stuff needed to be picked up by the weekend. He can't just kick me out, I tell Mr. Rodriguez. The lease is in his name only, Miss Torres. He has the right to determine who lives there. But I've been paying rent. You've been paying him, not me. Legally, you were a guest in his apartment. That's not how relationships work. That's how leases work. I have to borrow my sister's car to go pick up the rest of my stuff. David isn't there, but he left everything packed neatly in boxes by the door. There's also an envelope with my name on it. Inside is a check for $500 and a note that says, "Security deposit for wherever you end up living next. Please don't contact me again." I sit in my sister's car outside the apartment building and think about how everyone is treating me like the villain here, when all I did was ask for space to figure out my feelings. My phone buzzes with a text from Tom. "Hey, crazy weekend, right? Want to grab dinner sometime?" I stare at the message for a long time. Tom is cute and fun, and he doesn't seem to think I did anything wrong. Maybe I should focus on building something new instead of trying to fix something that was apparently broken from the start. I text back, "Sure, I'd love to," but even as I type it, I feel this weird emptiness in my stomach, like maybe I made a huge mistake and lost something important. Then I remember David's face when he walked into that bedroom, and I push the feeling away. He's the one who couldn't handle a modern approach to relationships. He's the one who chose to end things, instead of working through a simple misunderstanding. I drive to my sister's house where I'm staying temporarily, and she's waiting in the driveway with her arms crossed. "We need to talk," she says when I get out of the car. "If you're going to lecture me too, I'm not in the mood. Mom called me. She heard about what happened from David's mother. Great, so now the whole family thinks I'm some kind of monster. Are you a monster, Ashley? I'm a woman who was honest about her needs. You cheated on your boyfriend with 3 men. I explored my options during our relationship break, a break that lasted 1 weekend. The length doesn't matter, the principle matters." Carmen sits down on her front steps and pats the spot next to her. "Sis, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to really think about the answer." "Okay. If David had taken a break and you came home to find him in bed with 3 women, how would you feel?" I start to answer immediately, but she holds up her hand. "Really think about it. You walk into your bedroom and there's David with 3 naked women in the bed you share. How would that make you feel?" I picture it in my head and feel this surge of anger and hurt that surprises me. "That's different." "How is it different?" Because he would be doing it to hurt me. I was doing it to find myself. You think those 3 women would be there to hurt you? What if David said he was just exploring his options? I would know he was just making excuses for cheating. Carmen nods slowly. "Do you hear yourself right now?" "That's completely different, Carmen. David doesn't have the same emotional needs that I do." "What emotional needs require sleeping with 3 men in 1 weekend?" "The need to feel desired and passionate and alive, instead of just settling for comfortable." "And you couldn't feel those things with David?" "Not lately, no. So you decided to look for them with other people while you were still in a relationship with him?" "While we were on a break." "A break that you asked for so you could cheat on him." "I asked for a break so I could figure out if David was the right person for me. By sleeping with other people. By exploring other connections." Carmen stands up and brushes off her jeans. "Ashley, I love you, but you need to hear this. What you did was cheating. It was wrong. And if you can't see that, then you're going to keep hurting people and ruining relationships. I'm not the one who ruined our relationship. David is the one who couldn't handle an adult conversation about taking space. David couldn't handle finding his girlfriend having sex with 3 men. That's not about being unable to handle adult conversations. That's about being a human being with normal emotions. She opens her front door and pauses. You can stay here for a week while you find your own place. But I'm not going to listen to you make excuses for what you did. And I'm not going to pretend like David was wrong for being hurt. That night, I'm lying on Carmen's couch, scrolling through social media and seeing posts from all the couples I know. Everyone looks so happy and in love, and I wonder if they're all just pretending, or if there's something wrong with me that I couldn't be satisfied with what David and I had. Maybe I should call him one more time and try to explain things better. Maybe if I find the right words, he'll understand that I never meant to hurt him. But when I pick up my phone to call, I see that he's blocked my number. So now I'm standing outside with my suitcases, and apparently I'm the bad guy. My own friends won't even return my calls. I still don't understand how asking for space to explore my options makes me the villain here. Subscribe if you think taking a break should have clear rules from the start. Hit like if you've ever had someone completely misunderstand what you meant. What would you have done if you came home to find this scene? Stayed and fought, or walked away like David did?